This dice-running panel, right? We have the best Rajiv, we have Rikant, we have Mohan, and somewhat me also. So let's begin. We are going to delve into artificial intelligence, mostly about marketing and mostly about disruption. So of course, AI has become a very buzzword. People are talking. We will not touch all those topics, but we will talk with specific. For example, Rajiv. Now you have seen your journey, right? You have been the space boss man for a decade. Going forward, when you see the AI, when they create content on your own, where do you see the challenges will come? How do you see this thing will really disrupt the game? What do you have to say?
So, I think the entire buzzword as you use about AI has become unfortunate almost because almost everybody now uses it more for a marketing tool. If you use anything AI today, you'll get more customers, more investment, and more respect. Unfortunately, it also makes it then the same as marketing snake oil, which means if there is real AI, it may be only 1 or 2% of people who are doing it truly. All the others are only just making it into a gimmick, which leads to the problem. But as we're talking about content creation and everywhere else, the big question that I'm asked almost all the time is that with AI, the big problem is that today it's very important to actually pay attention to who you pay attention to. Everybody has a very different take nowadays. To manufacture a product, you have to first manufacture excitement. AI again creates that problem. But in content creation and even in marketing, I think the most important thing that I would want as a takeaway is that content creation, AI will always remain a tool. I think anybody that is around here right now, sitting in audience, or anyone that is alive right now, could be a baby that's born just this very second. None of us will be ever threatened by AI like in science fiction and comics and dystopian movies. AI will take over and all that. It will become one of the most significant technologies ever, but it's not, it will remain a tool at least in our lifetime. It's not going to become sentient, it's not going to take over, it suddenly will not say that I want to now take over the world and the human is the slave. These are fantastic stories to tell. Isn't going to happen in our lifetime. Content creation will always remain about telling stories.
But AI can really disrupt it. Like for example, the time you take to create a content. Tomorrow, the content will be mentioned, not created by AI. Those kind of challenges. Because but already, effort you put.
Ramesh, if you're seeing, already the experiments to do with completely AI created influencers took off as like hockey stick growth and has already fallen off. People don't want, the minute they come to know it's fake, it becomes, something where you're very intrigued for a few seconds, but you don't go back to it because, like I said, I think content creation will whether it was TV, radio, articles, magazines that you do, content is always about storytelling and only humans can tell stories to others. There's no human emotional intelligence available. I'd love to hear what the other
So you think there's not too much of
I'm saying it's a great tool. Anybody not using AI today, using AI will be 10x faster, 10x better as a tool, which therefore means those not using AI will be 10x slower and 10x worse. Of course it's a complete disruptor, but it's not something to be afraid of. It's something to have your arms open, use it well, and still tell the stories from the heart.
Rikant, so you have built an incredible company. 8,500 crore last year? Great. With profitable startup.
That was yesterday morning. Today's 9,000.
Right now, a couple of 100 crores must have gone up. So, Rikant, you've also not spent too much on marketing whenever we've spoken. Been very pragmatic about where to spend your dollars and how to get to. You do a lot of performance marketing. Now, my question to you is, with AI, it's very easy to get you those bots commenting, clicking, getting you those performance marketing metrics, but it's not actually converting to sales. So you think that's going to be a challenge forward, or how do you tackle this scenario?
So basically, I'll first of all answer your first question which you asked from Rajiv. I think first of all, AI is nowadays all inclusive. The full form should be like that, because according to me, that anyone, either an industrialist or probably a digital marketing, if it's not using AI, then it's not actually doing some justice for their business or for themselves. And even I feel like just one of the examples I must probably give just to support what Rajiv just mentioned. Like for example, when the calculator was invented back in those days, right, maybe 30, 40 years back, so they were like all the maths professors, they went on a strike. They said that, there is something new, so there is nothing left for us. So we're not gonna be, there not gonna be any students who are gonna be taking the education from us. But then what it did, it really helped them. Because now they're focusing a lot in solving more complex problems. So I probably feel that AI is going to solve a lot of things for us. Like for example, in my case, many of the times I use AI personally for myself to probably to write email content. Many of the times, right? So even many of the times it happens that I'm in a hurry, I would wanted to speak to somebody, I would wanted to create some contents, and I use that. So I think that AI is even going to help us rather than
in marketing. You think it will help you or give you complications? Because when you do performance marketing, when you do your marketing where you want lead generation or something.
So I'll give you a brief history about EaseMyTrip, right? So EaseMyTrip, we bootstrapped with just $25,000 in our hand, and we built one of the exceptional companies in India, which is like profitable, got listed, we are a unicorn, right? So we have always used technology to the core. I was the first coder in my company, just to tell you that, right? So then I recruited a lot of people. So in terms of marketing, when you ask me, I've always believed that technology is going to change the game forever in the future. And I feel that right now, AI is actually helping us to get the better ROI and to save the time. As a matter of fact, I see that back in those days, performance marketing, if you'll talk about, so everybody was concentrating on managing the campaign effectively, optimizing the bids up and down and everything, right, in PPCs. But now it's all automated. You don't have to do anything. There are so many tools available. You just put your target CPA, it will automatically have the target audience being available with you. You can have a predictive analysis, you have a customer behavior tracking, and a lot of things which we even as an EaseMyTrip we use. So
you can also predict where the customers will come from, which city has got the most tenacity to come and click or book tickets, or which sectors, all of that will help, right?
Yeah, so we use AI to probably, put our customers into 3 buckets. One is that the customer who is at the exploration stage, second is the customer who's comparing, and third is the customer who's ready to buy.
Okay.
So
based on that, Mohan, you are the man with the money, right? You're spending money, dollars, etc., etc. So now tell me, in your scheme of things, how are you seeing AI going to be used today, tomorrow, and how do you think, because you are also an automotive, which is a very unique space, because unlike the consumer tech industry, where you have a product being launched every month, because they have to do marketing, boom, 10 days, finish, end of life. You have to live with the product for a long time. So how do you envisage, how will you use AI? Supposing if you use Rajiv for your campaigns, will AI tell you, or will you know that Rajiv is effective? You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, Ramesh, thank you for having me here, and lovely to see the audience here as well. So let me tell you that AI, of course, as you rightly said, it's been a buzzword and everyone talks about AI. But if you go to the core, it should be really something to help support the business at the end of the day. In today's time, from a OEM perspective, engagement with the customer is #1 priority, and that too in a more hyper-personalized way, which means use AI intelligently in a supportive way to target the customer in the right way. Because when we use AI tools can help you to really do the customer segmentation, region-based, psychographics, demographics, interest, behavior. You could do wonders in terms of customer segmentation. And then the next level is to personalize the way your customer engage with the customer through communication, content, or even the customer experience through digital in the showroom as well. AI should be a really good tool to use and leverage to really have personalization at scale. That's the core of it.
So you've not been using AI for marketing, devising a campaign, so as to say, like for example, you will not say, Here, yeah, tell me, bold inside out or not? He won't use this, or he
Yeah.
won't use what will work. You think this will happen in future? Agencies will be redundant.
I would not say. I would say AI should be a tool to support, give us more insights about the customer, but at the end, the human intervention is critical. That's very important, even for other reasons, in terms of understanding if the decisions or recommendations by AI is the right one to take. So human intervention will remain most important, but AI should enable us to have more informed decisions and really more targeted communication.
Rajiv, content creation is a game because influencers, we both are similar industry. You are, of course, much up there. But when we devise campaigns, with influencers, with AI, a lot of people trigger their following, likes, bots, blah, 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 blah. Do you think this is going to be a serious threat to this whole social media industry? Or do you think this will actually fade out and become reality? Like, people know Rajiv Buckley. There are a lot of people who are there with 7 million following. Nobody knows, but they have 7 million following, they have good engagement. Nobody knows the head and tail of it. And that's the fact, because we devise a lot of campaigns, we also get bombed. Right? Look, who is she? Who is he? You know what I'm saying? You think this is, how do you track this? Or you think,
So I have to say that, pardon my French, but in 100% of what you said is true. We are up shit's creek in every which way. Because you speak about influencers, or like, I hate that word. I still go back into content creators only, because there's no more negative word than an influencer. I use the term uninfluencer for myself, because I tell more people what not to buy than what to buy. So I continue being an uninfluencer. But you're 100% right. If things were bad with bots and fake views and bot views and fake followership and everything else, it's only going to get much worse, because there was an example that was given to me by an AI company, not going to name it, but an AI company, and it's the one that works with a huge number of content creators, who said that at one point we had to create humans that sat in bot farms to actually create shares, likes, comments and everything else. And I had to have one human being per computer at any given point. Now I can do 10 million of the same between one AI computer. And it'll be a better quality, the comments will be completely varied, the shares will actually have some sense to it, and there is a lot more that will come out there. But having said that, and again, gone down the negative path, I still believe it is very easy. You yourself, I think, answered half your question when you said you create a campaign and you say, oh, 7 million, but who is she? Right? So when you'll have people who have 20 million, and the question by the brand, by you, and don't forget that you and the brand are also the same people who consume content. Especially the person who will consume the content will also say, what the hell is this? Who is he or she? So I know that we'll go through a slightly difficult period in the world of
learning
content
curve will
creation,
happen.
but it'll come back, and I also believe that and I'm making a slightly large statement out here, and I have two people who may just completely agree or disagree. I also believe that the time of the influencer is almost over, because it's again going to come back to credibility and user-generated content that will again become king. And it's already started happening. So all the fake views and the bot views and all of that, I think is already taking a huge tumble. You're seeing it with so many creators, millions of followers, 50,000 views. Why is it happening? It's a complete rejection from people. They've seen it for 10 years. You can't fool them any longer.
So there are a lot of influences here. There's something to learn. Now, Rikant, I have a question, which is, do you think AI virtual tours of destinations can be seen as a marketing strategy in the near future? Like, the travel industry, it can actually take it to another level.
Yeah, so Ramesh, I think that this is not the future, this is the reality now. Think it in a way that if you are even planning your trip for Kashmir or Kerala, right? So you are currently confused where to go as a normal consumer, because then you are deciding that what kind of budget you have, or what kind of days you will be spending in a particular destination, or even if you go abroad also. Like many of the times it happens that when you go to Thailand, that may be cheaper as you're gonna be going to Goa, because it's the same beach destination. So AI can help you in terms of taking your decision very well. in a way that, you know, like when we know your budget, in a way that we can define that, okay, that
So
in
you can
this
design
budget,
design a travel plan.
yes. So like with us, we also started a lot of things in tourism. So tourism is an ocean, I must say that, right? And in terms of virtual tours, we started in a way that we started capturing a lot of temples. We did Mata Vaishno Devi, which we also showcased in the last Startup Mahakumbh. I was there in the organizing committee over there as well. So wherein we found a lot of interest for the people that wanted to see that what exactly how it look like, and if they're gonna be there, what are the things they should not miss out. So I think that this is not actually the future, this is the reality now for the decision making of any traveler. They even wanted to get much more deep dive what exactly is that particular destination, that particular experience has to offer. And especially coming to AI back again, I think that, you know, travel and tourism is like an ocean. Like, you know, in terms of experiences, you can find n number of experiences in any destination. But AI, I particularly feel, can help in creating the content which is already available. And then instead of you getting the shoot done, you can actually use the already being created contents over the internet to create magical content which is actually the users will definitely like. So I feel, you know, this is something which is going to be there right now, and anybody who is currently being, you know, taking advantage of VR, AR is actually going to have an edge in the travel industry.
So, you know, so this is a question to everybody and to you guys also. So we face this problem. So we run a couple of websites. One of them is Exhibit Tech. We get decent amount of hits. I'm not doing marketing, but we get like good hits. Now the problem is that whenever I come across some articles, I can say that this is not written by a human. And the machine learning is becoming so smart that it's actually outpacing the content. So now, like we have a rule in our office, nobody can use more than 10% of an article to get ideas, but the word has to be written by them. And we have a software which actually tracks them. Now we are not going to track that because it's getting faster. So do you think that, you know, magazines publishing is not a very cool business, but still do good business? Do you think it will come back because people will like to read content because that's something which is same? You know, it's open. Whatever you use.
You want the answer you want to hear or the right answer?
Right answer, always.
I don't think magazines will come back. I think the sensory perception that we constantly talk about when we say, oh my God, when I open a book, I can smell the paper. All this sounds very romantic and very nice, but in reality, that's not the way it works.
You know, bookstores are coming up in US. Bookstores are coming up everywhere. That's I mean, my business in magazine is 5%, my turnover. We have much business, so I have no emotional.
I think it'll become a little lower than 5%.
All right, totally all right.
No, I'm just saying that I think romanticizing anything, especially romanticizing content, is something we all like doing. We do want, when you talk about anything nostalgic, it always feels good. But this is
when you want to read an article on something, how do you know this is not authentic?
I think I don't care if it's authentic or not. I just care that when I'm reading that content, does it make me, look, there has to be a psychological feeling. Does it make me go, wow, I didn't know that? Did I come out of it knowing, having more knowledge than before, is all I care about. But I'll give you one quick example, and I'd like all of you to try it even you know, after the event is over. A lot of people say, like you said, you know, you've told your team, you can only generate 10% of content or ideas from within that.
Because they win.
Yeah, but you don't really have to have that restriction. Schools are telling their students, principals and teachers are saying, you know, if you do it, we will catch you. I have a feeling that it's more important to teach people how to understand how to prompt better rather than to stop them from, you know, using the entire thing. But you can try one thing, the difference between creating content which is AI generated and the best tools in the world. Because eventually AI has to go back to data sets of things that have happened before. The knowledge that has happened that it can tap in is only on what has happened before. It's not being able to generate something that has not happened, right? Why do they call it a large language model? Because those are all the data sets it goes back to. If you ever write a prompt which says, I want to create a video, let's just go with, I'm sure there are many winners out here, let's say a Samsung or a Vivo on a particular phone, right? I want to create a video on Samsung's next foldable phone, but I want the content to be what no one has ever done before. You'll get crappiest answers back because it has to go back to what has already been done before. So therefore, emotional intelligence, creativity, finer nuances, true sense of humor are not things that you can get from AI. And that's where an article written by AI is never that interesting.
Okay, a couple of last questions. One, you have a beautiful car, Magnite. When you design a marketing campaign, what parameters you keep in mind? Like, do you think technology, do you think influencer marketing, Rajiv said influencer marketing is going to be not happening. I disagree because I see conversations happening, but of course it's perspective. What do you personally feel? How has it helped? Because you are doing a very tough battle because this only model has been doing for a long time and it's doing good now with this new facelift. So how do you, what kind of things that you keep in mind when you design a marketing campaign?
That's a good point, Ramesh. In fact, we just launched the Magnite. It was a phenomenal campaign we had. And we really did it in a very disruptive way, in fact. Very different from traditional marketing. With a lot of social media.
You use influencers?
We used influencers, a lot of social media, a lot of influencer marketing. Fundamentally different than how we used to the last 14 years in the country. In fact, we're surprised we haven't done a TBC, but despite that, with a lot of influencer marketing and social media, using AI tools, but still being credible in terms of the way we define content, really helped engaging with the customers. In fact, we did some really good pieces on digital as well. We had a new VR, AR-enabled experience on the configurator. Also, if you go to the showroom, it's all getting connected in terms of a seamless customer experience. But yes, AI we use as a tool to support, but the authenticity remains, it's very important. And that, I believe, even with AI more and more coming in the coming years, yes, it will disrupt the way we communicate or engage, but I think customers will seek more for trust and authenticity in terms of content and storytelling, and that will remain priority.
Okay. Last few things. Rikant, any case study you want to suggest, share with us in your marketing, which has been disruptive in Ease My Trip?
So, you know, I would probably suggest a lot of things, but I think on the...
I know one thing that if somebody goes to Ease My Trip, okay, you know what, sponsor us. They say, we'll buy a stake in your company.
Not really. So, yeah, so specifically very recently we did a campaign which is basically a boycott Maldives. We started with Chalo Lakshadweep, but it eventually got converted into boycott Maldives because of our Prime Minister being there, and so we started with a campaign wherein we mentioned to, and we urged and requested a lot of people in India to think about the country first and then the business should be later. So we stopped all the flights, bookings on Ease My Trip and hotel bookings in Ease My Trip when it is towards the Maldives, and it was a big success for us. We didn't thought that they'll be getting a lot of love from a lot of people around the country, but it was a great success. The people came to our website and the traffic jumped almost 500%. Yeah, so that was one of the things which we did, but it was not really
out of the 500% people, how many looked for Maldives tickets?
Very few. Very few.
And now can I buy a ticket to Maldives?
Now yes, we started back again very recently because of the ongoing good political conditions between both of the countries. We just started just a month back.
Rajiv, any funny reel, or you create so much with tech, where you've given a lot of, we all go through this, we give a lot of time and effort, it doesn't go viral. Something which goes viral. You want to share something?
The only part that I feel is very important about content, and that gets them to do more, is that if you have some kind of a connection. It can be, wow, I didn't know that, or it can be the exact opposite. I don't agree, that's completely wrong. But any psychological emotion that you evoke will get more people to share and like and actually get more viewership, and whatever is the world of algorithms which changes every morning, you can never ever really crack it. But if you're telling the story and you're not getting robotic, you're not like, okay, I must post on Monday at 10 a.m., Tuesday at 3 p.m. I think all of this just takes you away from the core principle of great storytelling and great content, which is tell it from the heart and it'll actually resonate eventually.
That's actually a great piece of advice. All right, gentlemen, we have to begin the awards. We're already running late. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this is going to add some value to someone somewhere down the line. I had a lot of fun. I learned something. Maldives I'll try. Magnite I'll buy. And the real idea next I have. Thank you so much.